Welcome to this 5 Whys training course for BRC Standards, brought to you by Advanced Food Safety Limited. The course is broken down into 4 short videos. The introduction, and that will cover the background to the 5 Whys and the 5 Whys and where it fits into the BRC standards. The second video will look at root cause analysis, why we use the 5 Whys, and when we use the 5 Whys. Next, there will be a video on how to use the 5 Whys. And then finally, there will be 3 worked examples. One for a BRC audit non-conformance, one for an internal non-conformance or an internal incident, and the final worked example will be for a customer complaint. Let us start by a brief look at the background to the concept of the 5 Whys. It starts with Sakichi Toyoda, inventor and founder of Toyota Industries. In the 1930s, he invented the concept of the 5 Whys for problem solving in his business, by asking why 5 times to find out the source of a problem, thereby finding the real cause of the problem, the root cause, and then putting measures in place to prevent the problem from recurring. Toyota Industries developed over the years to eventually become the Toyota Motor Corporation, where the 5 Whys was used as part of Toyota's lean production systems. The 5 Whys are part of established continuous improvement programs and lean manufacturing programs such as Kaizen and Six Sigma. Under the new British Retail Consortium Global Standard for Food Safety, Issue 6, there are requirements for root cause analysis in various sections of the standard and in the BRC training and guidelines. The 5 Whys is one of the methods, and in fact the simplest method, which the BRC recommends to achieve root cause analysis. As we have said, under the BRC Global Standard for Food Safety, Issue 6, there are requirements for root cause analysis. And in fact, root cause analysis is included in 3 separate clauses of the BRC Standard. We will have a look at those shortly. But remember, if root cause analysis is not carried out, it can result in non-conformities being issued during a BRC audit. The first requirement for root cause analysis comes under the first section of the BRC Standard, and that is Senior Management Commitment. Under clause 1.1.10, it states, the company's senior management shall ensure that the root causes of non-conformities identified at the previous audit against the standard have been effectively addressed to prevent recurrence. In simple terms, this means that you must do a root cause analysis of all non-conformities found during your last BRC audit. In fact, we will see later that you will have to document this anyway as part of the closeout procedure for your BRC audit non-conformities in order to obtain your BRC certificate. Then, under section 3.7, corrective action, under clause 3.7.1, it states the company shall have a documented procedure for handling non-conformities identified within the scope of this standard, to include clear documentation of the non-conformity, assessment of the consequences by a suitably competent and authorised person, identification of the corrective action to address the immediate issue, identification of an appropriate timescale for correction, identification of personnel with appropriate authority responsible for the corrective action, verification that the corrective action has been completed and is effective, and finally, identification of the root cause of the non-conformity and implementation of any necessary corrective action. In simple terms, this means for your internal non-conformities or incidents, you must identify the root cause of the problem together with an action plan with timescales and responsibilities to prevent a recurrence of that problem. Under Section 3.10 Complaint Handling, Clause 3.10.1 states that all complaints shall be recorded, investigated, and the results of the investigation and root cause of the issue recorded where sufficient information is provided. Actions appropriate to the seriousness and the frequency of the problem identified shall be carried out promptly and effectively by appropriately trained staff. Again, in simple terms, this means for all complaints where there is sufficient information, an investigation into the root cause of the complaint is required. Finally, under the audit protocol, which is the section at the back of the standard where it describes the certification process of the BRC standard, there is also reference to root cause analysis. Under section 9.2 of the audit protocol, it states for each non-conformity raised during the audit, as well as corrective action to remedy the immediate issue, it goes on to state the root cause must be determined to identify the underlying cause, and a corrective plan to address the root cause must be developed. This has to be detailed on the documentation submitted to your certification body within the agreed timescale to close out the audit non-conformities raised at your actual BRC audit. There are, of course, other BRC standards: the packaging and packaging materials standard, the storage and distribution standard, and the consumer goods standard. Although there is no specific mention of root cause analysis in these standards, there are requirements for risk assessments, evaluation and analysis of complaints, and corrective action requirements and prevention of recurrence. The 5 Whys will obviously help with this, and, as noted in the past, some key requirements of the food BRC standard are very often incorporated into the other BRC standards at a later date. So root cause analysis may very well be specified in future issues of these standards. You may also find that, as with the food standard, following the actual BRC audit, consideration of root cause may be asked for in the corrective action to be submitted to close out the audit. This is the end of the sample course for the 5 Whys. To take the complete course, please visit the website detailed below, or visit www.allsafe.org.uk and click on the e-learning courses page. Thank you. To contact us for any more information you may require, please call 01257 254 999. You can email at info@food-safety.co.uk or visit our websites www.food-safety.co.uk or www.allsafe.org.uk. Thank you very much for watching and listening to this presentation.